Hi guys, my name is Steph Zushi, and this is To Ship or Not to Ship? That is the question, isn't it? No, this is To Ship or Not to Ship, Fandoms R US. And what we're going to do with this podcast is we're going to be able to explain different fandoms as well as shippers. Now, I would like to start off this program letting everyone know, being a shipper does not mean you're only a woman. Men ship too. Everyone ships. If you say you do not ship, you are lying. Everyone has a preference on what favorite TV show, what favorite movie, what favorite book, what characters they want to end up with who, based on different varieties of personalities, to sexual orientation, to et cetera, et cetera. So it's really interesting that a lot of guys get up in arms about, saying they're not shippers. But then they sit there and say, I don't think she should end up with him. That doesn't make sense. The biggest outcry I have from one of my friends would probably be the Reylo outcry, which will be its own episode. Star Wars will be its own episode. Please. I will not taint it with other fandom. It has its own separate space, so to speak. So, our first episode is going to be geared around a couple of TV shows I've been watching. One of them being the biggest controversy, and that would be Friends. Oh yes, I'm picking on Friends. You are up to bat number one. Friends is the biggest controversy because should Rachel end up with Ross? My answer is, hell no. No offense, but if you want my opinion on this, Ross was a bit of a tool throughout Friends. Yes, I felt like going back to Ross at the end was kind of like dragging her down. I felt that she should have gone to Paris. Ross basically held her back with that stupid message. Girl! I probably would have wanted her with Joey, even though Joey's a bit of a womanizer, but not really. Joey's just Joey. Now, if we look back on Friends now, in a very PC world, we can tell you how chauvinistic, misogynistic all the men are in that cast. Where they deem Monica being crazy, she is absolutely the most sane out of all of them. Just saying. Yes, I have my inner Monica. Yes, so she has a little OCD of being overly neat, overly clean. Who doesn't? I'm sorry. I have that. A lot of people have that. That's the norm on some people, okay? So you just can't label that as being crazy. That's absolutely insane. Now, Monica ending up with Chandler. I was okay with it at the beginning. Then Chandler turned into somewhat of a jerk. I mean, he was already a jerk to begin with his sarcasm and douchey comments. But then he was very sweet to Monica and, encouraged her. And you didn't realize how jerky he could be. Like, a lot of his snide comments to your wife could be considered like a death sentence for you. Now, her retaliation a lot of times of like sleeping on the balcony or sleeping on the couch were like one of my favorites. But I have to say, out of all the relationships, I would choose Monica and Chandler over Rachel and Ross. And that's just because what they had to go through, finding out that, she couldn't have children and they decided to adopt it at the end of the series. I felt that forgave all the past growing up that Chandler had to do. And that's what I'm saying. Chandler's character, as jerkish as he was at the beginning, did a lot of growing up. And I liked it. I liked where he ended up at the end of the series. Did I like where Rachel and Ross ended up? No. I feel Ross is selfish. He cannot let Rachel be happy. And on top of that, Rachel has a hard time letting Ross be happy. But I don't think it's all Rachel's fault. Like, the example of saying the wrong name at the wedding. That's on Ross. At his own wedding, he said Rachel's name instead of his bride's. That's on Ross. Ross totally messed up. Another example is they're taking a break. Now, this is always a controversy issue with a lot of couples. You know, we're taking a break. Automatically, one of them will say, oh, we're broken up, so I can go date other people. That's not what taking a break means, Mr. Ross. It means you're spending some time away from each other. Just a little bit of time away from each other to kind of, you know, reconnect with yourself. To find out, is there something in the relationship worth saving? It's not until both of you commit to saying, we are going to break up. I repeat, gentlemen, we are going to break up. So, that makes sense to me, right? Obviously, Ross didn't take that way. Taking a break meant I'm going to go, you know, hook up with whoever I want. And my excuse is, when I make the mistake, is we were on a break. No, we were taking a break so that we can reconnect as a couple, because she needed time apart from him. And then when she came back to him saying, I'm ready, I understand what went wrong, you know, etc., he could have left well enough alone. But, you know, Ross, he shoots himself in the foot. He shoots himself in the foot every episode. When he's trying to get with Rachel, he does all the things wrong. Ross becomes quite sad, in my opinion. A little pathetic. And he really has no one to blame but himself. Rachel is living her life. After running away from her own wedding, she is trying to live her life, trying to discover who she is, trying to get into the workforce. She never had a job, a real job. And here she is working. You know, she worked as a waiter, then she worked as an assistant, then she worked as a stylist, and then she worked in so many jobs to get to the job she wanted to land by the end of the show's run. And Ross could not let her have that. Now, yes, they had a child. And he was all for her getting the job. And she was willing to say goodbye. Should they have slept together that last time? Probably not. You know? That was the best thing about that, was that kiss. And that whole, you know, scene that they got to, you know, make love and stuff like that. That was actually, you know, moving. But I think Ross should have let her go. For both of them. They are so completely on other ends of the spectrum in where they are in life. And I just wish that Ross could have accepted I wish she could have accepted that. I felt like they should not have ended together. Well, that's my opinion. I mean, everyone's going to have a lot of, you know, different, you know, views on that. But if anything, the stronger ship I felt was always Monica and Chandler, even though, again, we talk about Chandler having to grow up. And he did grow up. Ross, I felt like, didn't. So is Ross the right choice? That's up for debate. My opinion is no. He is not the right choice. So, a little explanation. I'm off my friend's drive. Now, Joey and Rachel. I don't know why, but they're the best BFFs ever. And I was so sad they could not transition that to romance. Because I felt like they had each other's back. Joey understood Rachel's vibe. And Rachel understood Joey's vibe. Where she had to tiptoe around Ross with his feelings and felt like she was on eggshells throughout the series. With Joey, the small time that she was roommates with him, I felt she didn't have to do that. I felt a real connection between the two. And I hate the producers for teasing us. The writers and the producers teased us with that, saying, well, we might start a relationship with them. And the fun part was, it was never based on sex. It was never based on how Joey looked, because that's how Joey's used to getting girls. Joey's hot. Joey's really hot. So he's going to get all the girls. But Rachel knew Joey was hot. He was friends with Joey. Accepted that, okay, my friend's hot. That's not what I see. They used to joke about it. She used to say, oh, yeah, he's really, really good looking. Oh, my God. At the beginning of the series, she was starstruck. But afterwards, there became a real friendship. I love the whole thing when they're throwing the food on the floor. Where she's in the apartment for the first time and she accidentally spills something. He's like, hey, not in here. And he chucks the food on the floor. I think that's so telling. I like that he's there for her when she, when she's going to go, goes into labor and is in the hospital. There's a lot more dynamic, I felt, to that relationship. Ross was complicated. Joey felt natural. All right, that's my rant, and I'm going to call all my episodes rants for episode 1, and that's for friends. So this is called Ship or Not to Ship. Fandoms R US. And we'll see you next week with our next episode, which is Once Upon a Time. I'll talk to you later. This is Steph Sushi signing out, my friends. Laters.